It's been a moment. I'm Lexi here from the Spiritual Social. I'm really happy to be back, guys. I felt called to actually do this reading for the new moon in Scorpio. It's going to be quite an intense time, the Scorpio energy. And it really sits very well with me because I have a very strong Pluto and Scorpio in the first house. If you have any planets from 0 to 10 degrees in Scorpio, whether it is your ascendant, whether it is your moon or your sun, especially your sun, then it will really pack a punch, this new moon in Scorpio energy. It feels a little bit like a full moon, I have to say, I'm not gonna lie. The intensity, the drama, the weather changes. I'm camped right now, filming from Nashville, Tennessee, where I'm here for work for the next couple of months. And we've been having like the lead up to this new moon in Scorpio, the Libra dark moon. Wow, so much wind. Like it literally almost took an eyelash out of me. It's so strong. It reminds me of the gales in Scotland. I'm not going to scare you. I don't want to scare you, but this is the moment where we are preparing for the dark. So instead of, I might also name this video Welcome to the Darkness, because the new moon in Scorpio and the last week of October is actually the point in the whole seasonal year when the light that was created throughout the summer is gradually being diminished and it's being sucked into the underworld. So we are preparing for nature to die and rebirth itself in spring. We are preparing for cold. We are preparing for harshness. We are preparing for adversity. And Scorpio is the harbinger of this, well, kind of weather like bad news and spiritual stoicism that is required of us to resist and make it through the winter, make it through the cold. So I'm not a big fan of Game of Thrones, but that whole tag of winter is coming is actually so fitting with the last week of October, Halloween, when the veil between the worlds, the spiritual and the material world, are very thin. So there could be easily trespasses between our ancestors or the spirits that some people consider live with us and the material world that we touch and feel and see and take in through our perceptions. Okay, I don't know if this makes sense to you guys, but I already noticed how the light was diminished in the room as I was talking to you about this. And I also feel myself, I feel like painting my nails red or black or blue. I don't know, I just feel like I'm very drawn into more solitude, more contemplation, sleeping longer, resting longer. And to a certain extent, this is the best way that you can use up this energy. Create intimacy, create closeness, create pull people together to you during this hard time, because materially we are going through a transformation. Nature is renewing. We need to gather up our resources, store them up for winter. We're changing the way that we eat because we are really into foods that are more fatty, more nutrient rich, more meat rather than vegetables and fruit. We had that over the summer and the spring. Now we don't really have that much in abundance. We're just preparing our gherkins and pickled stuff, to prepare for the dark weather. But it's a great time for being close to each other, okay? So coincidentally, a lot of babies are actually created during the holiday time because people are relaxing, resting, and there's not much to do outside. So it's a lot about physical intimacy indoors, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be sexual in any way. I'm just talking about those people that are happily in love. But it could also be like, playing board games with your family and just, I don't know, playing games by yourself, anything, reading books, snuggling up, having really nice coffees, Sundays in the bed, reading, writing, contemplating, creating music, creating art, all of these really beautiful things that have to do with the spirit, with our cultural heritage rather than, and it's amazing, but the light is actually, reflecting now as I'm talking about these really beautiful things that protect the human spirit, that make us beautiful inside. This fire within that creates. And I'm so looking forward to the fire within, which is going to be brought in, ushered in by Sagittarius energy at the end of November. I have 3 planets in Sagittarius. I love Sagittarius people. They are so honest. They are so achieving. They win at everything, and I absolutely love the energy. So following this kind of like dark, moody, depressive, intense, dramatic, determined period with Scorpio, we are actually going to have a break during the holiday season, during Christmas, when it's going to be all about the fire within, as we're getting cold outside. Anyway, so I'll just end that rant here. I'm aware that it was just 5:55 when I looked at the watch. I have a surprise for you guys. So here in America, I went to a really wonderful place and I allowed myself to just let things gravitate to me. And this beautiful deck gravitated to me. It's the Botanical Inspirations deck. And I also got the Sun and Moon Tarot. I mean, gorgeous. So I'm going to be using these ones. And what I love about the Sun and Moon Tarot is that they're so tiny that you can hold them in your hand. So you can warm them up as you're shuffling them. I love the physical, sensorial aspect of actually divining with the cards. And it started raining. Talking about sensorial things, I don't know about you guys, but I really love how rain smells. I love how it feels on my body. And if it wouldn't actually give me terrible colds from being outside underneath it, I would just be in the rain all the time. Then again, I'm a Pisces, so as a water sign, shower me in water all the time. So maybe this is something that you guys needed to hear. Scorpio is also intense water. It is the deepest water that you can find in the zodiac chart. It is about emotions, but it's also quite a lot about traditionalism and extremism. Scorpios can be incredibly spiritual healers of the zodiac. They understand human nature like no one can. No one in the zodiac is as adept as a psychologist as they are. However, they have to be careful not to just rely only on their intuition. They have to exercise their intellect as well, because they can be stubbornly determined on believing the wrong things for a very long period of time. And that, rather than hurting other people, hurts them more than anybody else. So they can be as stubborn as Taurus, which is their opposite sign. They can be as passionate, as obsessed with sensuality as Taurus, food, lovemaking, how things smell, how they feel, money, all of these things that are related to wealth and abundance. But they have a hard time of actually creating it because they don't trust people. They have a very, very difficult way of approaching the good-heartedness in people. Why? Well, this is because they are very in touch with the scum, the filth of life. They see from a very young age abuse. They see trauma. They are going through trauma themselves and through abusive and traumatic things. And it kind of puts them sometimes in a depressive state. Their lives are basically a whole exercise in learning to rise above whatever crap has been happening in their lives. So I'm saying these things. Maybe you're thinking, I'm not a Scorpio, this doesn't resonate with me. But this is the energy of the season. It's going to be a lot about challenges, whether you'll be verbally challenged by somebody, physically challenged, sexually challenged. Be careful, I hope this doesn't happen to you, but it could. Emotionally challenged by your close intimates, whether it is people that you've been working with and you trust, or whether it is your family members, or whether it is your intimate partners. Statistics actually show that the majority of violences occur due to family members and your intimate partners. So there is something there about love and power, intimacy and control that Scorpio governs so well. So they can be living like the filth of life if they choose so, or they can also rise above and become the eagle, become like a transformed Scorpio, a person that learns from the tough experiences of their lives and does not project their bullshit on other people, but just understands, accepts, helps others heal, heals people through making love to them, heals them through, I'm going to give you a second chance, I'm going to give you a third chance because I've been through the depths of despair and I rose out of it and I know how powerful I am and I'm going to transform you as well. So that's kind of the power that Scorpio has. I don't know, I just felt really called out to say all these things. It's a bit of a long intro, sorry guys. I'm going to have at the moment just messages for people. So I'm going to have message number 1 and message number 2. My fingers. This actually means something really rude in Britain. Sorry about that. But I'm in America now, so that doesn't count, okay? Okay, so I just shuffled the Sun and Moon Tarot, and I'm shuffling the Botanical Inspirations cards, which are so gorgeous. I was actually, the image on the back, the dahlia, is something that for a very long time I had in one of my private diaries as a tattoo that I would like to have one day. So it's really funny how images that I find 10 years ago are actually gravitating towards me in the shape of a tarot deck or an oracle card deck years later in a completely different territory. But there you go. Synchronicities, the universe, God in all her wisdom is guiding us where we have to be all the time. Okay, so make your choice now. Think about the intentions that you want to set with this new moon in Scorpio, and I'm going to guide you through the process. So for those of you who chose pile number 1, what are the intentions that you should set? What are some of the things that you should focus on with this new moon in Scorpio? It's a really tumultuous time. Halloween is coming, then Brexit is going to happen. There are fights in Chile at the moment. People are demanding their supremacy in front of the government. And you are getting art, temperance. Okay, I'm just going to list out the cards and then I'll hold them up for you so you can see. Art. Ooh, 5 of Swords. Defeat. Temperance and defeat. 7 of Wands. Valor. 3 of Pentacles, works. And I'm gonna stop here. I feel like 4 is enough. I think this is a really a very strong Phoenix energy, which is so fitting with the new moon in Scorpio. And let's see what oracle card you have. You have the Lily, which is all about majesty and virtue. Let me hold it strongly so you can see. The quote you have is, "The lily is the emblem rare of many virtues, good and fair." Lilies are also what in my culture we would give to people who are on their way to the other world. So people who have died are usually adorned with white lilies, represents purification, transformation, and it's a very fragrant, powerful flower to aid you in the transition to the other world. So again, very strong messages. And then you have forget-me-nots, eternal memories. The best things in life are the people you've loved, the places you've seen, and the memories you've made along the way. Yes, hallelujah, I can completely identify with this. I'm a nomad myself, so the best things in life are actually the experiences that we make through our soul experiences rather than any material goods, because these are the things that we can literally take with us, our memories, our experiences, our feelings, we can take with us to the other side, rather than our cars, our homes, and rings, jewelry, anything like that. We can't take that with us. It's nice to have them while we're here, but it's not about here. It's not about our hearts and what makes us human. Okay, so let me show you the cards again. So you got art, a major arcana card, temperance. This is usually represented by the angel of Sagittarius. You've got defeat. And then you've got valor. And then you've got works. You have all of the elements well represented here except the cups. You have swords, Wands and Pentacles, and the protection of an angel. And then the lily and the forget-me-nots with the keywords majesty, virtues, and eternal memories. I have the feeling you're falling in love. And it's been a very long time coming. You felt defeated several times. You were thinking, this is just not working out. No matter how much effort I put into this relationship, no matter how many times I change, you've been tested. You had a lot of self-worth tests. And you have here the defeat and valor. So it's like situations where every time you were trying to be open-hearted, be loving, it's almost as if life was testing your self-worth and it was pushing your head down, you know, going like, no, get back up again if you want this. Do you really want this? Do you really, really want this? Are you gonna work for it? But you've always had like a guardian angel that protected you, and that was by your side. The song from Coco Rosie, By Your Side, just sprang to your head, you know, like, I'll always be by your side, even when you're down and out. Sorry, it's a bit embarrassing. Sometimes I get embarrassed when I hear other people singing in tarot readings, but it just, you know, this is the thing that I heard. So it's about connecting with somebody that you've wanted for a very long time, and it's gonna work out. We are having, for Halloween, Mercury stations retrograde, and it's going to be retrograde through the entire period of November, the entire month, right until Sagittarius season. So I have the feeling that you're going to nostalgically reconnect with somebody who you had some quarrels with, you had some fights, some defeats, some arguments, but you want them and you're not going to give up on them. And this is going to be your eternal someone. This is your soulmate. That's why you have not given up on them. That's why through all the battles, through all the thick and thin, you're there. And I guess the other person is there as well. This person is like the apple of your eye. It's look at this. It's like lilies, you know, very beautiful, very fragrant. I don't know how a person can be fragrant, but I think you know what I mean. It's a person that you're really sexually attracted to as well. You want very much. You feel like this connection is fated. You feel like there's a guardian angel that protects you and them. But it's just been very hard, and it's felt like defeat after another. Maybe you tried to talk to them, maybe you tried to make love to them, maybe you tried to reach them, maybe they were in a connection with somebody else and you could never like connect somehow. Maybe you tried to just tell them that you love them and the other person pushed you away. Maybe they tried to tell you that they loved you and you pushed them away because you weren't ready, or you felt defeated from the other, you're still healing from the other hurt. But I feel like in November it's gonna come together. Let me just pull one more card. I'm really curious to see. Okay, so let's just pull one more card just to see how it's going to happen. If it's going to be smooth or if it's going to be difficult. Oh. Okay, disappointment. Do you want the honest answer or do you want the sugar-coated answer? I want to give you guys one more card. I don't want to leave you with that. Okay, great. This is great. So truce, disappointment. You've got cups. This was the missing element. And then you've got swords. There's a bit more time involved in the situation. You might contact them and they might reject you. You might be going through a disappointment. But I feel that whatever, and I feel like my throat is getting a bit clunky. It's almost like I can feel the anxiety of speaking out and letting them know how you feel, from your heart chakra to your throat chakra. They might reject you because maybe you rejected them and they're still in that hurt place. Maybe you hurt their ego. Maybe you said some things that were really disrespectful, and now you might want to come back and apologize, but they're like, nah, take your disrespectful ass out of here. Sorry, I hope this doesn't trigger anyone, but I'm super blunt. But I feel that the situation is gonna improve, but very slowly. Maybe if you open up your chakra and you apologize, they might reject you but still keep in touch with you. And in time, slowly, as you both learn to respect each other, as you both learn that you've got nothing to be afraid of, that you can trust one another, your communication, your trust is gonna be more solid. And when you have communication and trust, you can have a fantastic relationship, because there's nothing that could actually push you two down. If you know, I can trust this person, I can go blindly, walk into any situation with them, I can communicate with them about anything very clearly, that's an unbreakable bond. So you're still working on establishing this trust and communication, but ultimately once you both reach it, it's going to lead to commitment, and it's going to be solid as a rock, solid as a tree trunk, like a sequoia. And then it's gonna be really, really beautiful. It's gonna be hot, it's gonna be steamy, it's gonna be something that you will never, never, never forget. Okay? So that was my message for you, pile number 1. The light got sucked out of the room again. I hope that I'll have enough for the next pile, which is pile number 2. So I'm gonna put back the cards and shuffle. I'm also gonna take a sip, sorry. Okay. So what messages do we have for pile number 2? Oh, it got so dark, but in a way I think this is very fitting with Scorpio season. As I mentioned, it is the period of the light disappears from the world. We are moving into the dark side of the Earth's revolution around the sun. But as with everything, in order to grow, in order to be whole, we need both light and dark. There is nothing to be afraid of the dark. Someone who loved me once told me, there is nothing to fear in the dark, because if you actually take a moment to overcome the fear and just wait in the dark, you open your eyes get adjusted to the darkness, and you realize that it is full of colors. And since I heard that, I feel like I need to tell you this, but since I heard that, I'm never afraid of the dark. So I just keep remembering his words and the fact that the dark is always colorful. You don't need to be afraid of it. It's as light as any other kind of light, because we are always in movement in this globe. The globe is always turning, the constellations, the galaxies, everything is moving. We are moving, we are never stagnant. So there's nothing to be afraid of. You're never lagging behind, or you're never completely in the darkness, and you are most definitely never alone. There are so many natural elements sustaining you and supporting you, even if perhaps you might not always be surrounded by people themselves. As I was saying these things, this card fall out. Death, rebirth, the phoenix. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how elements of the new moon and Scorpio keep showing up for Scorpio. We have justice, a beautiful butterfly. This is also the sign of Libra, which is where we are now in the dark moon in Libra. For those of you who don't know, before every new moon, the energy disappears of the moon as it's completely invisible in the sky, or appears to be invisible in the sky. She's still there. And that's what we call a dark moon. And the sign previous to the sign in which the new moon is, in this case Libra, is the one that actually governs the energy of the dark moon. So as I said at the beginning of the video, we are having a dark moon in Libra at the moment and very strong winds, because Libra is challenged by Capricorn energy at the moment. So we've got Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node squaring this dark moon in Libra. So it's kind of a tumultuous preparation. And as I'm saying this, the light comes in again. Beautiful. Okay, so I'll put a couple more cards for you. Oh, you also got Works, Three of Pentacles, just like the first pile. And then okay, two more cards fell out at the same time. Strength and what is known as the Wheel of Fortune. And this one, it's a really beautiful wheel of animals, actually. Wow. Pile number 2. Talk about fate. You have 4 major arcana cards. Let me show them to you again. Okay, you've got Strength, you've got Justice, you've got Death and Rebirth, and you've got the Wheel of Fortune. And then you've got the minor arcana card, Three of Pentacles, Works. The cards that you got for the major arcana are all about movement. They are all about karma. So these two in particular, Death and the Wheel of Fortune, the wheel turns, and what is tough one day can become really a blessing the second day. The Death is all about this process of transformation, of going into the underworld, looking within to uncover hidden treasures, and then changing the way you relate to other people, changing your life, maybe changing your job, changing your relationship, changing your place where you live. But you have to go through a minor crisis of awareness first, like, oh God, I can't take this thing anymore, you know, and then you change it. Then you've got Justice, which means it's a karmic element. Justice is all about, it governs Libra, as you can see the scales in this photo, but it's also about Saturn energy, so Capricorn or Aquarius ruled people. It's about, and I'm saying Aquarius because, as you know, Uranus is actually the son of Saturn, and he ends up eating his father as a rebellious sign. And traditionally, Uranus or Aquarius energy was ruled by Saturn before the discovery of Uranus in the 1950s. So processes of change that you are at the moment going to be involved in, and the next 6 months for you are going to be about change. So if you felt stuck, and I have the feeling you guys have felt very stuck, you are like, what the fuck is happening? I need something to change and I need to have it changed now. Then set your intentions, because the energy is really pushing you in that direction. You're gonna have to do work for it though. In order for it to work, in order for you to bring in this change that you so need, you are going to have to put in effort, put in hard work. So as we know, you know, letting go of a relationship that you've been in for a while is really tough. It's very hard. Changing your place of work is really unsettling financially, so you have to maybe save up some money before you do it, if you can. But it's also mentally and psychologically draining if you're arguing with a boss or with a group of people at work that you can't stand anymore. Moving to another country is very uncertain because you don't know who you're going to find there, so your safety resources are being alerted, you know, so you have to figure out, how do I create safety in an environment that is very strange and foreign from me? I personally have been going through this in the last 2 months, and I have to say that if you take the courageous step forward and you say to the universe, I want to change, I want to take a risk, I want to see how this is going to play out. From my experience, it works out beautifully. You have to trust. And I've been working through some of my trust issues as well, with just taking risks and, the heck with it. Whatever happens, happens, because I'm a very careful nature naturally. So, and with good reason, being careful as a woman especially. So you have strength here, which is a beautiful card, a woman and a wolf howling at the full moon. As I said before, this new moon in Scorpio feels like a full moon energy because it's being opposite Uranus in Taurus. So it's a lot of change, it's a lot of unexpected things happening, it's a lot of intensity, it's being challenged by Mars. But the best thing to do is to retreat, contemplate, rest, prepare for Sagittarius season, where Dharma is basically going to be distributed. So don't react so much, but prepare, set your intentions to change your life, because you're going to be supported. And even if it will involve a lot of hard work, you will find the inner strength to pursue your desire. Scorpio is also about our desires, about wanting something so badly that it hurts. Literally, you get physical symptoms, you dream about somebody all the time. It's about that obsessive quality that Scorpios are famous for, because of the fact that they put all of their feelings into something or someone, and they want something so badly. So it becomes almost like a somatic aspect. It manifests itself through the body, through material things as well. Hopefully in a good way. Sometimes it can manifest itself in a negative energy. And as I'm saying this, again, it's so dark. You feel like everything is becoming darker. But let me give you some joyful tips. You got 2 oracle cards. The first one is Coreopsis, which is a flower I'm not really familiar with, but it's really beautiful. It looks like the autumn leaves. And it's called, it's called Coreopsis, and it's about always joyful. Write it on your heart that every day is the best day of the year. It's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Okay, so this is really, really hopeful. Joy. I'm really surprised that this came out, because the tarot cards are very, very strongly fated and hard. And then you've got the bellflower, which is a sign of gratitude. And the quote is, "Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow." Yeah, so as I said, don't be afraid to make changes, to set intentions to change your life in the season, because it's going to be something joyful that you're going to create in the next 6 months. So remember, you just need the right mindset. You just need your heart in the right place. That's what I mean by an intention. And then once you align those two, it's almost like a magical subconscious process begins, where you start thinking, acting, speaking, relating to everyone based on that intention. So you start to ask people, so do you know how I can maybe make this move to the other country? Or do you have any friends that are living in that place? Could you put me in touch with them? Maybe I'm going to look into this new study program in this place I've always wanted to travel. Or it could be the same with relationships. So you're thinking, this is over, we've exhausted the energy, I'm finding myself developing feelings for somebody else, I need to explore this, So it's kind of like detaching yourself from old relationships, old jobs, old places, old patterns of thinking. It could also be something related to your body, like if you have Pluto in the first house like I do. I'm really at the moment into yoga and into stripping my body of all the toxins, of all the harshness that has been going on, and just enjoying what I put into it. The foods, I'm eating more fruits, drinking loads of water, and just resting, trying to give it a break. So it could also be just a very simple change regarding your body, although as we know, change is never simple, right? But I feel like you're going to be successful no matter what you'll be doing, pile number 2. So I feel called to end the video here. Thank you so much to whoever's watching. whoever is looking at my videos, I noticed that while I was away, my subscribers kept going up for reasons that are beyond me, because I haven't been really consistent with putting videos on. But I mean, I can't promise you much, guys, because I do have a full-time job, which I absolutely love, and I'm here experiencing and living my life. But I want to do acts of service for you. So if you're curious or would like to know more about tarot, astrology, feel free to just get in touch with me. Let me know what kind of videos you'd like me to put out. I would love to do another series for you guys. If I feel like it, because I am governed by the moon. I'm not a Cancer, but I am very, very slowly spiritually connected to the moon. If I feel like it, I will make these videos for new moons and full moons, but there will be no guarantee that I will do them every month. I am just going with the flow, being Pisces. So I'll just go and see how the mood, the energy, the messages come out of me. Okay? So I just want to say I love you guys, I appreciate you, and don't be afraid of the dark. We are in a period that is very, very dark, but don't be afraid of it. You are stronger than you think, and you know, we're human beings, light workers, light bringers. We can shine up in the darkest of darks.